Welcome to Oryx Learning. Today's lesson is on Unit 5, Functions, Lesson 5, Compare Properties of Functions. The number of new movies a store receives can be represented by the function y equals 5x plus 4, where x represents the number of weeks and y represents the number of movies. The number of games the same store receives is shown in the table below. After 6 weeks, how many more games will the store have than movies? If you'd like to know the answer to this question, please follow along and we'll revisit it at the end. Functions can be represented by a table, graph, equation, or words. You can compare two functions represented in different forms. Y equals 52x could also look like the graph shown to the right. What is the rate of change of the function y equals 2x minus 7? The rate of change in slope-intercept form y equals mx plus b is also known as the slope or the m value. The slope in this case is 2. Therefore, the rate of change is also 2. Find the rate of change of the function graphed below. Looking at the graph, we can see that the rate of change, the rise over run from point A to point B, goes down 1, so the rise of negative 1, and goes over 5, so it runs 5. Therefore, the slope, or the rise over run, is negative 1 over 5. Find the rate of change of the function whose points are shown in the table. Looking at the rate of change, we can see that the y values, or the rainfall, increases by 2 each time, from 2 to 4, 4 to 6, and 6 to 8, plus 2 each time. For the x value, the time in hours, we can see that the increase is 1, from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4. Each time it goes up by 1. Therefore, the slope, or the rise over run, the change in the y's over the change in the x's, is 2 over 1, or just 2. So our rate of change in this case is 2 centimeters per hour. The number of sales y per hour x on Jane's website can be represented by y equals 12x. The number of sales on Sarah's website is shown in the graph below. Whose website gets more sales per day? Using the graph, we can see that the slope, or the rate of change, goes up by 10 and over 1. Therefore, it has a slope, or rate of change, of 10 sales per day. Jane's website, represented by the equation y equals 12x, would have a rate of change of the m value, or in this case, 12. So as we can see, if Sarah's website has a rate of change of 10 sales per day, and Jane's website has a rate of change of 12 sales per day, then Jane's website gets more sales per day. So remember, the number of new movies in a store receives can be represented by the function y equals 5x plus 4, where x represents the number of weeks, and y represents the number of movies. The number of games the sales store receives is shown in the table below. After 6 weeks, how many more games will the store have than movies? So first, let's look at the equation y equals 5x plus 4. After 6 weeks, we can find the value by substituting in 6 for x. This gives us y equals 5 times 6 plus 4, or 30 plus 4, which is 34. In the table, we can see that the y values increase by 7. So 7 to 14, 14 to 21, and 21 to 28 all increase by 7. The x values from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4 increase by 1. Therefore, the slope, or the rate of change, is 7 over 1, or 7. If I continue the chart to 5 and 6 for x values. Increasing the x values by 1 would increase the y's by 7. So 28 plus 7 would get me to 35, and 35 plus 7 would get me to 42. So at 6 weeks in the table, we would be at 42. So what is the difference between 42 and 34? Well, 42 minus 34 is 8. Ways to represent a function. So remember, we can represent a function with an equation or with a graph, with a table or in words. All represent the same thing in a different way. That's our lesson for today. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed it.